7 out of 22 private families have already deployed some of their money into Bitcoin or crypto. That is 7 out of 22. Call it a third. Tiny, tiny bits. $2.5 million allocation. 397,000 families requires 37 million Bitcoin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Saturday edition of the Alpha Series with myself, Kelly Kellum, director of the BitLab Academy. I'm so excited to have an incredible guest on today, another one, Mr. Gary Cardone, and we're gonna be diving into that here in a few moments. And if you wanna watch the full length of this interview, the link is in the description down below, and you'll also see a link at the end of this video. Stick around because we have a lot that we're gonna be digging into about Bitcoin and Ethereum and this digital asset ecosystem. So without any further ado, it's Mr. Gary Cardone. How are you doing, my friend? I'm so happy to have you here.
Doing good, man. Doing good. It feels like it's the end of a week and it's only, Thursday. So I've been to 3 states already and I think 8 podcasts or some crazy number. So it just keeps getting more interesting. And I think it's becoming very clear what the real opportunity is. So I'm doing good, man.
Well, before we really dive into this, I have to just express my gratitude for you being here. I've had the opportunity to be on a number of different podcasts and spaces with you. And you even kind of pulled me aside at one point. We got on about an hour Zoom call and just talking life and markets. And because so many people get so focused on the dollar and the, what is the thing that makes money? And you did something that I absolutely commend in business and life, which is who's the person? Who's the person underneath this? How can I help you? How can you help me? And I just want to say I thank you for that and I appreciate you. And as we're diving into this, before we even get into it, what if somebody were to walk up to you on the street and pose the question or even the resistance about Bitcoin and the opportunity that is or isn't there underlying, what would be your brief sort of, few minute, this is why, whether you're retail or institution, why is Bitcoin, despite the price action that's been going on, it might feel frustrating zoomed in on a 1-hour chart, why is this something that is an absolute necessity for people's attention to at least pay attention to, if not yet get involved in?
Dude, how many green lights do we need? Okay. Now, this is the math. $2.5 million. I have far more than $2.5 million, and I am not a super high net worth player. Okay. Which, I'm probably at the very bottom of the food chain. 7 out of 22 private families have already deployed some of their money into Bitcoin or crypto. That is 7 out of 22. Call it a third. Tiny, tiny bits. $2.5 million allocation. 397,000 families requires 37 million Bitcoin. 37 million Bitcoin will allow an extremely wealthy guy like me to buy 92 Bitcoin. That's it. So you guys can sit here and do the math all you want, but no, everybody's thinking about the underbank. We should think about the overbank. The overbank will drive this market. I've been saying this forever. The underbank are going to come along when the value of a Satoshi is somewhere between a penny and half a penny, then we'll see Satoshis working. But that means Bitcoin's price actually has to move so Satoshis become something that can be exchanged. In the meantime, you're going to have a lot of tokens make up the little payment rails, right? Whether they're fake tokens or CBDC tokens or whatever tokens they are, they're going to fill that gap until we're there. So that's my best explanation. And by the way, that's before 62 millionaires across planet Earth deploy $2,500.
So just just $2,500 each for these millionaires.
Hey, these are one-time hits too. Okay, for the multi-wealth, the super wealthy, it's $2.5 million. You can do it over 10 years at $25,000 a pop, or you can do it all at one time. Okay, they need 5.7 million. Shit, the millionaires can't even buy $2,500 worth of crypto, dude, without moving this market substantially. Okay, there's not 5 million Bitcoin floating around. So that is my thesis, okay? I don't know any rich people that have ever found a product that they can beat their neighbor to buying it. Like, guys like us love doing that. Oh, I can buy something you can't have? That is awesome. So I think we forget, and I think actually most high net worth players are already at max consumption. They literally no more planes. They don't need anything else. Like I don't need anything else. Now it's all just investment. It's all the future. So you can do that math any way you want. You can take those $397,000 and factor that down to 10%. I am wrong by 90%. It's still 4 million Bitcoin. Okay. Any way you work this number, you can also back into it and say, well, the high net worth players are actually moving into an $800 trillion market. You know, I have assumed that no one even changes their allocation to 800 trillion. I have assumed this is a new $22.5 million rolling into a new asset class. It's not moving like it's not moving from equities to Bitcoin. It's literally new money. Now, what happens if this really takes off and some guy goes, hey, you know, there's a $400 trillion locked up in commercial real estate. We're going to move 0.1% of that into Bitcoin. That is not included in my assessment. And I think there's been less than a 1 or 2% deployment of really wealthy people into this space. It's a very hard number to really get your head wrapped around, but I think that's about what the allocation is currently. And it has to go up to 3 to 8%, I would think. So that's the thesis, buddy.
When's the turning point for it being too late to get into Bitcoin? Do you feel like that's going to be something that's going to be 20 years, 30 years out? Do you feel like there truly is a huge value in people that are in now before these ETFs? Is it just one of those things that because we're here today, any time is a good time until further notice?
Well, this is where this financial advice gets a little sketchy, right? So I don't know what your personal position is, your debt, what your other strategies are. I don't know enough to be able to say that. Look, when was the right time to buy gold? Okay, I mean, gold before the ETF went out was trading at $383. Then the ETF went out, it just exploded, okay? I think that's more likely to happen than Bitcoin does its halving dance. Too many people in this industry think the halving dance is going to be the same. That scares me. When was the wrong time to buy real estate? You see, if the Bitcoin people are correct, and this is all about printing fake money ad nauseum, then Bitcoin by default will always go up relative to the dollars. All it actually has to do is stay at $25,000 and you're going to be okay. This is extremely difficult for most people to understand because they don't really understand inflation. All you hear about is a guy saying, hey, look, I got a salary raise last year. Yeah, dude, you got a salary raise one time in 10 years of any significance. This salary raise is not going to change. And your prices are going to still go up forever. So you might think you're feeling good today, but like next year, you're again. And look, on that, like I invested for you guys that don't want to buy the coins, right? Like I invested in a company here in this space, serving this space. You don't have to buy Bitcoin. Your appetite might be, okay, now that everybody's blessed this space, let me go talk to a venture fund guy or a guy like Gary Cardone and, hey, are there real companies I can buy in this space? Like I bought an accounting, forensics, tax audit firm. If I came to somebody and said, hey, I'm going to buy one of the biggest, who's H&R Block, I'm a build an H&R Block in the digital asset space. $20 million lets me build a $1 to $3 billion business. If I don't mention Bitcoin and blockchain, people will be like, I want to look. Then this is it, dude. This is a new industry that has to be accounted for. And the tax man just said, you will account for it and you will do it per certain rules. So you don't have to buy the Bitcoin. If you're worried about your children leaving college, not having a freaking clue what they're going to do because they haven't been educated, send them to me. I will hire every 18-year-old kid that comes right out of school, assuming they know how to show up on time, listen, write, and have manners. Okay, if their parents actually taught them ethics, they do not need to go to college. I will turn them into monsters, dude. Monsters, okay? Because they don't need to know anything. They don't know anything in this industry, and I can teach them from a blank sheet of paper. So I look at that and go, well, that's going to take care of 1 million to 2 million people that are undereducated in the United States alone. The problem is I don't see any of the parents going, why am I going to send my kids to college, dude? Why am I doing this? They're not even being taught the right things, okay? They're not. They are not. They're leaving school. They have no clue how money's made or how finance works or even the difference between Republicans and Democrats or where the Ukraine is, okay? It's scary, man. And we're a global world now, and you have people in China and India that like they're going to work their ass off. So I have a lot of concern about what we're doing with our most valuable resources, which I think are children and the minds of a culture. To me, this is a tremendous, although disrupting event. It is going to disrupt whether U.S. likes it or not. We have no control over it. And maybe people should be looking at this through a different lens. This will take bad energy off the market. It will keep clean energy available for real use of energy. I want to help the planet as much as anyone. I'd like proof that all this is actually happening, but for sure, I can get rid of dirty fossil fuel that's leaking into the earth and turn that into Bitcoin through mining, probably in geos that are more conducive to heat, data centers. And why would we want to, just waste the hydro? And I don't think that's the best use of it. And there's trillions and trillions of dollars of inefficiencies in fees and tag-alongs and fines and all types of little things that have to occur because too many people send mail. Remember when we said, hey, there's not going to be mailboxes in the future? There's still mail showing up. Okay, what a waste. Yeah. You want to ESG something? Stop sending all the mail to mailboxes for advertising. Okay. Yeah. Hey, stop having every Fifth Third bank build in every city, 6 $2 million homes in the middle of an industrial zone. These $2 million, 6,000 square foot, they look like homes. They got big parking lots and they have 3 customers a day. Why the hell are we spending all this money on banks that nobody are going to? Taking away a piece of land that could be for a home, having a piece of land that's heavy fossil fuel imprint, concrete, has to be insured, has to be electrified. No, nobody's going into those buildings, and for sure nobody's going to go into those buildings in 3 years. So this is an opportunity for a total structural restart. And if America would stop sending all the money offshore to fight wars that we have no business in, and nobody wants to fight, and we take all that money and we put it back into making this a great educated country, we might get back on our feet again. Otherwise, we're going to lose our position.
Yeah, I hear that. But like you said earlier, what an opportunity, what a time, what a honor almost it is to, because we could have been born at any time in history. And we're here right now. I mean, I was looking at a video my dad digitized the other day. It was from home movies back from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Of course, I was born in the 80s. And I was looking at this video, and I was like, man, I didn't even realize there was a video with me in it. I was like, man, this video looks like it's from last century. And then I realized, well, I also was born last century. And it just made me really realize the disparity or the change, the evolution of technology from early 80s to now. It's 2 totally different worlds. Then we think about my grandfather, who's 100 years old. When he was born, his family had the first light bulb in their whole neighborhood. And we're talking about how fast, you're talking about the compression of things and cycles. Technology has accelerated all this stuff. We have not even culturally caught up to the fact that we can call somebody rather than mail, let alone have blockchain technology that's instantly, there's so much to be explored here. And we're going to have you back on again and talk about this further. I appreciate you beyond any other words I could say. And I look forward to being on another podcast with you.
Thanks so much, Kelly.
Oh, absolutely. Now, before we go, everybody, I just wanted to shout out again, Gary Cardone right here at Gary Cardone. You can find more information on him there. He's doing spaces all the time. Just wealth of information. Definitely check in with him there. And if you haven't yet, make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy Twitter page right here at Academy BitLab. And of course, my own right here at Kelly Kellum. Again, the only reason why I call these out, all three of us, the company, and then both Gary and myself, is because there's so many of those people Gary was talking about earlier. So many people out there scamming, trying to take advantage of your hard-earned money and your hard-earned time and attention. So make sure you're following the correct people. Big love to each and every one of you out there. I appreciate you. And if you do want to watch the full-length version of this video, make sure you head over to the youtube.com/@BitLab Academy or hit that link down below. Watch the full-length version of this. And shout out to everybody at Discover Crypto. Shout out to everybody that's here on BitLab Academy. We appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful Saturday. And remember, just like Gary said, $25,000, all you would need to do is hold $25,000 of Bitcoin at that price. And if it doesn't change, you're doing better than the dollar.